And now to the pitching side of things here in the Arizona Fall League. Of course, it's the call-up. I'm Aram Layton. He's Jack McMullen. And I'm glad we waited to do the pitching side. Because we were talking about it. Like, okay, let's do pitching right after. And we needed to see a few more arms. And we got to see some fun arms in the time that we had. But, we also have some bats to talk about as well. And that's the reality of the Arizona Fall League in general, right? Even the pitching episode is going to have a lot of bats.
No doubt.
It's pretty much more hitters, honestly, in this episode anyway.
No doubt. It's Two Dudes on a Couch Part 2. And it was so funny because I guarantee the majority of you have had this experience before where you get up in like a shared living space, whether it's with a significant other or like, a friend when you're Airbnb-ing somewhere, and you just you made this plan the night before, and you get up and it's
that plan makes no sense.
No, we're out on that. So we woke up yesterday morning, and I was still here on the couch just hanging out, and I was like, I just don't think a pitching episode makes sense right now. And you were like, we're literally an hour away from seeing Grant Taylor. We should wait. So we waited. I will say, also thankful we waited because we met some of the best people ever last night at Sloan Park in Mesa, and an incredible listener in Barry and Jody Siff. They were awesome to link with last night in Mesa, along with a couple others. So again, if you're out of the Arizona Fall League, Aram is it feels like contraband, but Aram is going around with so many sunflower seeds in his backpack. If you see him, say, dude, give me some seeds now.
It's actually funny. I feel so weird. I just zip open my backpack and say you want some sunflower seeds? The Arizona Fall League is such a harmless environment that I think people are like, oh yeah, sure. But
you have something in your backpack?
Yeah. Okay, I'll take it. And I'm handing it to kids. Right. I obviously want to give the kids seeds. So it's
Halloween season. That's baseball themed Halloween.
Yeah, I guess so. And it's been great though. Everyone's been really enjoying them so far. And of course, these episodes are brought to you by Chinook, who sent us too many boxes, by the way. I'm talking to you guys. I think we said 3 to 4, but they're always so generous. They sent 10, 11, 12. Please come take some seeds from me. I'm probably going to go to a local Little League park to hand out more. And I'm bringing a bunch home, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we got so many.
I'm flying to Austin to meet up with my college buddies.
You better not take all the cinnamon toast.
I'm not going to take all the cinnamon toast. I will grab a variety to bring to those guys. But it's one of those where it's I feel like if they were salt bombs, I wouldn't be willing to eat a ton on my own. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's if they weren't just awesome seeds and easily crushable, I will say.
Yes.
I wouldn't be able to put a couple bags down on myself. It would be one bag and it's okay, that's it for the day. I'm good. But these honestly are the best seeds going right now. I firmly believe that, and there's a reason that we're partnered with Chinook Seedery. And a reminder, a promo code JUSTBASEBALL gets you 10% off your seed order online at chinookseedery.com.
So we'll start with hitters. But we are going to get to plenty of arms. But, we would be remiss to not discuss some of the bats that we saw the last couple days.
Yeah, if we saw odds for an Arizona Fall League MVP, I think this guy would have a minus sign in front of those odds. It's Dodger outfield prospect Zyhir Hope. It was great because we had the chance to just say a quick hello. I'm pretty sure he'll be coming on the show at some point a little bit later on in the Fall League. We look forward to that. And, I asked him, I was like, how you feeling, dude? And he said, blessed. And I was like, you know what? You're kicking.
I would be too if I'm hitting the ball 470.
Yeah, I totally get it. And, you have more on this, but that swing is beautiful. And the balance throughout is just hard to fathom.
It's such a simple operation, but still so explosive. And I wrote about it in the notes, the Arizona Fall League notes. So if you already read that, thank you. I'm sorry if I'm regurgitating a little bit here, but I just don't know of another way to describe it where, and I'm not comparing him to these players, but when you think about some of the best players in baseball, like a Bobby Witt Jr. and a Gunnar Henderson, what do they do in the box that is so impressive to me or what they do is, it's so simple, yet so explosive. Yes. Think about it. Gunnar, he barely moves. Picks a foot up, puts it down. It's just a slight coil that you can barely see. It's more of what he's feeling inside and lets it go. When you look at Bobby Witt Jr., he kind of gets himself coiled right before the pitch comes. You'll see, if you look really closely, you'll see a slight little hip twitch. Yeah. Picks his foot up, puts it down, and goes. It's super simple. Not many guys are explosive enough, twitchy enough, strong enough to be able to generate that much force with that much simplicity. But Zyhir Hope is, and when you're able to be that simple, you're getting your A-plus swing off all the time.
I'll throw you a couple other guys for that example too. Like obviously Judge is the gold standard, but Yordan Alvarez, right?
Exactly.
It's overwhelming simplicity. Corey Seager, overwhelming
and those
simplicity.
guys are 6'4", so it's like, okay, they can get away with that.
Exactly. I was also going to bring up Austin Riley, who's another huge human being, but like notice these are all superstars that we're talking about, and there's something about how simple it is. It doesn't need to look crazy for you to be a superstar player. Like you don't have to be Gary Sheffield in the box to hit like Gary Sheffield. The best hitters of all time had the most simple setups imaginable, and the best hitters in the game right now have the most simple setups imaginable. And that translates to the minor leagues.
Yeah.
All the guys that we talk about in minor league baseball that are top 20 prospects, and this guy will probably be in the top 50, if not way higher.
He already was in the top 50.
Yeah, so there you go. Like he was in the top 50. Like most of the top 50 prospects in minor league baseball have something very simple going on in the box. And the fact that he taps into this violence in his swing from that simple spot is a separator between him and a top, 60 prospect in baseball. Hell, maybe even a top 40 prospect in
Absolutely. And of course, there's exceptions to every rule. Like a Moises Ballesteros, right? He's got the big leg kick and everything.
He's got stuff
But
going
everything
on.
else is the hand load is pretty simple. And once he gets that foot down, like he's got his moves down. But again, there's exceptions to that. There's guys that can just make it happen that way.
Yeah.
But when somebody can be that simple and possess that violence, any additional movement would just be taking away from what you have because you're just disrupting your timing or making your timing more difficult to repeat. But some guys need to have something else to really get themselves going and really be able to engage their lower half or whatever.
Right.
To have this kind of power and to have his lower half and upper half totally working in sync, this simple, is absolutely crazy. And the at-bat that we saw, and look on Twitter because I did not miss his Zyhir Hope swing once we were out here. He's the guy I was most excited to see. Left on left, Pat Monteverde, who's a AAA arm. I know it's not the stuffiest guy in the world, but
he's 26, 27 years old.
Yeah, it's a low-A guy against a more polished upper minors arm.
Borderline big league arm.
Yeah, and I mean, works the count full, spoils a couple of tough pitches, really good take, and then he pulverizes a fastball or like a cutter up and in. That ball, I finally have the data on it. 111 off the bat, 456 feet.
Yeah, 456. I was going to say, it's like, you try and qualify where it is, but like quantifying is way easier for everybody to note that it's like 450 something. The qualitative description of where that ball landed was far beyond the lawn in Peoria, and it's like it looks like it's the base of the trash cans, and you know that that's very far, but it's very nice when you could attach 454 to it.
Oh, absolutely. And then the other crazy part is, we watched him go backside the other day as well on a curveball from David Morgan where, I mean, he just lets it get deep. And that's the thing. That's where the efficient swing is amazing, where, like, you can be fooled, you could swing late, and you can still get the barrel out in time. He wasn't fooled, but it was kind of a late swing decision. It was kind of one of those, like, high curveballs that can be tough. It's not just a classic hanger. It's one where it's like, oh, wait, I actually probably got to protect on this.
Yeah.
He didn't even protect. He went backside, almost hit it out of the catcher's glove, and it went 105 miles per hour, the opposite field, 400-plus feet.
And that's 2 days removed from him going 470 to right center.
Yes.
Right?
So, I mean, he's doing it to all fields, and when you can repeat your moves that consistently, when your bat's in the zone for that long and you're that explosive, you're going to be able to leave the field to all parts. And the last thing is the approach, standing out the way that it does. I mean, he chased it like a 15% clip all year. It's been more the same here. The way he controls his at-bats for a 19-year-old is remarkable. But I think really the thing that stands out the most, again, to tie a bow on it, is he's 5'10". Yeah. He's very physical, though, at 210.
Incredibly.
Like, filled out. But to be that powerful without really trying is just – that does feel like it is God-given.
Yeah.
Like to have that kind of twitch, explosiveness, athleticism, and leaning into it. And he can run, too. And they're trying him in center. So, like, that's the fun thing, too, is I'm excited to see more reps for him in center because he was almost entirely playing left last year. So, if he's able to play an average center even, this changes a lot, too, in the overall profile where he now turns into an absolute monster. He can carry a corner, no problem, and he's still one of the top prospects in the game. But center field,
if he can play a serviceable center, I mean, we're talking about that guy down the line again. He's 19 years old. He hasn't played in high A yet. We're talking about a guy that has the makings of a possible future top 10 prospect in baseball.
Absolutely.
So that's what we got there. A guy that probably does not have those makings but is showing incredibly well, especially with last night, is Trey Morgan. Morgan of the Tampa Bay Rays is in Mesa as it stands right now. And he was, 4 for 6 with 6 RBIs yesterday?
2 doubles and a grand slam.
Yeah. He had a very impressive night, and this guy has been impressive with the bat since he's gotten out here.
Yeah, second 4-hit game.
Yeah, like the outfield thing has been interesting to watch. Like there have been some circuitous routes that we've seen just in a few games of watching Trey Morgan. Having said that, the bat is the bat, and the bat looks awesome right now. And the bat looks more advanced than pretty much everybody in this league, which is exactly what we were pitched on with Trey Morgan.
Yeah, and I think he's exceeded that even, which is amazing. Because I mean, of course, the ball's gonna fly out here, like no doubt about that. We know that, but he's he's striking the ball, and that's the thing is like the EVs aren't gonna be different. Like you got to hit the ball hard, and it's gonna come off the bat as hard as you swing. And he already posted a new max. We saw that one back up the box at like 112 or 111.2, which. That's I think by 2 ticks his highest EV.
And if he can get to 111 like more than once a year, that changes the scope of Trey Morgan entirely.
The fact that he's even able to do it once, it's like okay, whoa, there's something in there. Yeah, you have that, which is amazing because the hit tool is just crazy. I mean, we saw him hit the grand slam in an advantage count, and it was a low pitch, and he just absolutely pulverized it.
That's the thing. Like, that pitch where it was low and in, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And, I mean, his ability to drop the barrel with that much vigor was very impressive.
And got down with it with his lower half even, which he's so athletic in the box. Yeah. And then we got to see the best of both worlds, right? We get to see him get his A swing off there, go down and get it, and then the opportunity with 2 strikes, 2 ducks on the pond, and he spreads out and he shoots it the other way. But now he's hitting the ball hard enough where I think in the early going of his pro career, those 2 strike swings where he shoots it the other way, even if it's in the gap, guys are cutting it off before it could be a double. Right. That one just rolled to the wall and quickly, and that ended up being a double. So it seems like he's hitting the ball a little bit harder, and with his feel for the barrel, that makes a huge difference. And, I mean, we'll see how the outfield defense comes along. Everyone's struggling in the outfield out here because the sun is so bad and the ball carries disproportionately.
Now, night game, it didn't look awesome either.
No. So that's more the latter, the ball carrying. And, by the way, look the pitch that he hit out. Trey Morgan was a ball down. Yeah,
ball down and, like, flirting with the inside corner as well. Like, that's a well-executed pitch.
Yep. So that's a guy that just is dialed in right now. And then you even look at the double the other way. I mean, that was another pitch that was a ball down. So clearly he likes the ball low. And but the other side is the control of his ABs has been impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive. A guy that has shown pretty well recently is Ethan Salas with San Diego. And I know that we hit on Salas for a minute last episode, but we got to look at Salas again for 9 innings defensively yesterday, and man, was that impressive. This guy, we talk about, hey, the bat may not be as far along as many people think for 18 years old. He's 18 years old, and defensively, you'd be hard-pressed to find 3-4 more advanced catchers in minor league baseball, and I'm clumping in, org guys, too. Yeah. I'm clumping in 25, 26-year-olds that have been in the minor leagues for a minute, and, their whole thing, they have a minor league job because they can handle a pitching staff. This guy, on throws to second, I mean, he's got a cannon.
Oh my gosh.
The transfer is lightning quick. That was incredibly impressive of a defensive showing. I know that I was texting with a buddy, and I know that he has, maybe a little bit of a pass ball problem, but he's 18 years old. Yeah. I feel like you can shore that up if you're just a little bit more focused on limiting the pass ball. And at the end of the day, man, this has the chance to be an elite glove.
18 years old, he threw out 28% of base stealers this year, and now it was easy to see why. And it's really hard to throw out 28% of base stealers at the lower levels because pitchers don't hold guys on for anything. Yeah. And the catch and throw, as you mentioned, there was one where, the jump he was gone already, and we put that video out where I think it was Edwin Arroyo. He was legit gone.
It was the best jump you could possibly imagine, and the pitcher was very slow to the plate.
And it was very close because of how quick Salas. It was like a shortstop turning a double play or second baseman turning a double play. So that paired with the arm, I mean, he is going to be one of the better, I think, run game stoppers in Major League Baseball when he gets there. So that's a huge bonus there. The blocking, of course, he's 17, 18 years old. So that's the thing to just see as that develops. And the receiving is always been there. So the bat, though, is what we wanted to see. And, so far, like we talked about last episode, when he's using the whole field, that's usually going to be a good sign. And, 104 the other way is going to play pretty well. And it seems like he's getting more comfortable offensively, so that's a nice thing to see. He did get kind of a welcome to the Arizona Fall League against Luis May, if we want to fit him into the
holy hell.
We'll throw him in at the end. But he punched out on 101 on the inside corner from Luis May. But other than that, I think we saw some really good things at bat wise from him compared to what we saw for most of the regular season.
Last hitter, we promise, Thayron Liranzo of the Detroit Tigers. We talked about Josue Briseño. Liranzo didn't. I don't think we got to see him first time we saw Scottsdale.
We didn't.
Yeah, and then Liranzo was behind the dish last night. I mean, that arm. Like I mentioned, the rocket on Salas, like up that by a couple ticks, and that's Thayron Liranzo.
No doubt. He's obviously working to be as quick and as agile. But I think it's a 70 arm. No doubt about it.
That was a crazy, crazy arm, and the fact that he made some loud contact as well on that one, like. That was a very encouraging game.
He also got beat up.
Yeah,
he took a bunch of foul tips off, just kept him. I thought that he'd come out after this like second or third one.
Yeah,
it's the fall league, bro. Like that, he's just got that catcher
just
grit.
Sat there for a minute. Yeah, it was like again, and it's like that's when you just get lifted and you put somebody else in. He's like,
nope,
I got this.
He was very impressive. I think the bat speed is very evident. I'm excited to see him run into one at some point over this week. I know he will. I know he already did a couple days before we got here. He had a 4-hit game with a homer on the 10th. But, this is a guy that I think the Tigers have to be thrilled to be adding to the fold. And clearly they're going to give him every single rep possible behind the dish. And I think he's progressing nicely. That there were some nice blocks. Again, the receiving can get better for sure. But, the arm is absolutely ridiculous, and the catch and throw will come along.
Yeah. You should be very encouraged as a Tigers fan if you're out here seeing what you've seen from Briseño and then seeing what you're seeing right now from Liranzo as well. Like, they're doing well.
Well, real quick, Briseño BP, you beat me there, so you were there. I was getting some food. I missed a show.
You missed a show. You have to be there. Scottsdale and Mesa have two of the more impressive lineups that you'll find out here. I feel like you're prioritizing those two teams.
For sure.
It's like, I just got to get out there. That's something you have to do by the end of the week or over the weekend is get to a Scottsdale batting practice because that was overwhelming from Briseño. And I felt bad for Drew Gilbert because Gilbert was following, and it just sounded like a dying quail off his barrel compared to Josue Briseño. That was I said it on Twitter. I think that was one of the most, if not the most impressive batting practices I've seen from a minor leaguer. And I've seen some guys that hit the ball really hard that, have a bunch of contact concerns, but BP is when you can really let it be, right?
just launch them pull side.
Yeah, I've seen that before. But it was something different because he strides in and he's got that mean mug face. And I'm like, you're a humongous human being. He's gigantic. And it just sounded different off his barrel. That batting practice was unlike most that I've ever seen in minor league baseball. Big League BP is a different beast. He fits in big league batting practice as it stands right now.
He looks like it too. So it's going to be fun to see that bat climb, especially if they kind of bang the catching thing and just have him really focus on first base and focus on the bat.
Yeah, it seems advanced for a 19-year-old.
For sure.
So that's what we got. We are going to talk Connor Phillips and the rest of the pitchers in a moment. Before that, quick break. Connor Phillips leads us off with the pitching breakdown. Obviously, we talked Andrew Painter last episode, so if you do want the Painter breakdown, that is at the beginning of the previous episode. But Connor Phillips was really good in his AFL debut. Do you have the line in front of you?
I know it was 4 innings of no runs and 7 Ks. No walks was the big aspect of that one, though. Where, the official line was 4 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 7 Ks.
Wow.
Average 98 with the fastball.
Yeah.
So, you saw more of it at the end of the year, but when he came off the dev list, adjusted mechanics, mostly working east-west, which is interesting, and then kind of turning. Like his windup is stepping backwards towards first base, then back forward, and then having this kind of coil inward twist towards second base, and then letting it eat towards home. I think it's helped him stay closed longer instead of having that arm lag. But it also has resulted in some different release characteristics. Yeah. One of the things that made Connor Phillips so good was the slightly lower release and then the carry that he would get and the life on the fastball. But the reality was he wasn't throwing strikes. Right. So it doesn't really matter what the characteristics are, right? Like it'd be like the advanced version of Mike Rizzo's quote. Like, it doesn't matter how much vert you get on ball 4.
Right.
But I mean, the interesting thing is that fastball can still play, and it seems like with that inward twist, he still hides it really well, and it's still 98.
Yeah.
So now since he's made that adjustment, the release point's now 6.2, 6.3, which is not always ideal, but he's coiling in the way that he's hiding the ball, and it's 98, and it's a strike. Yeah. So you trade that any day of the week, and it seems like that pitch is playing quite still. Maybe it won't be as elite in terms of in-zone whiff, but if his adjustments are allowing him to land his slider, which they have, he's landed that first strike, at about a 65% clip since he came back.
Yeah.
You love to see that, and that's exactly what we saw in the last outing where, he threw 25 sliders, 18 were strikes. That's huge.
Call me an old head, but I don't really care what your fastball characteristics are if you're walking 60 guys in 78 and two-thirds innings. Like, that's not an old head thing. It's like you need to throw strikes, and it seems like he's adopting the KISS approach, keep it simple, stupid. Listen, whatever you have to do to keep it simple and to find the strike zone, do it. Because at the end of the day, you throw 98 miles an hour. You made the point about Carlos Rodon the other night, too, where it's like, it's not elite fastball characteristics. So the difference between 98 and 95 is drastic. For a Carlos Rodon. And, that's the case with Phillips, and it's not a velo thing. It's, hey, you can get away with subdued characteristics with easier mechanics if it means that you're locating 98 where you need to.
Yep.
And it wasn't even a location within the zone thing with Phillips. It was a can you throw strikes or not thing.
Can you throw it in the zone?
Yeah, can you throw it in the strike zone or not thing with Connor Phillips. And there were some starts where he actually could not throw it in the strike zone. So, characteristics be damned at that point. I love that he figured out something that makes sense for him. And it seems like it happened in Arizona when he was on the dev list in Louisville, because he came back in Louisville. I saw him throw against Indy final month of the season, and he looked good, man. Yeah. It was one of those where I was like, wow, I was pretty encouraged by this. It looked different. That is, it wasn't a one-off, and that was a very encouraging thing to see that it wasn't a one-off with Connor Phillips.
And I think that's the only reason why he's here is to build on it, right, and really build that confidence back up, because that first half of the season, it was a confidence destroyer, obviously. Build on that, prove to himself that it wasn't a one-off either, and I think he's got to be feeling good now, especially after that outing. That's the best outing we have seen so far in the AFL. And, again, if you're landing your breaking balls for a strike north of a 70% clip, you're going to be in a good spot.
Yeah. The numbers for Grant Taylor of the Chicago White Sox are not great so far in the Arizona Fall League through 2 starts. I think it's 9 runs, 5 of which earned in 4 innings. He's K'd 8 and walked 4. I think that's a little bit misleading. Taylor had a brutal 3rd inning yesterday in Peoria. The front 2, he looked really good. And you came over and said, this guy could be an awesome reliever. And I guess mentally I kind of wanted to push back and be like, well, let's give him a shot. He's dealt with injuries now several times. It's not just the outset of pro ball for him. And he looked really good in the first. He looked pretty good in the second. And then in the third, it started to unravel a little bit for him. Now, is that a lack of buildup, a lack of innings in the 2024 season? Maybe.
Yeah.
But also, you worry about that guy kind of tapering off when, we've used the word up down, like when you hit his 4th up down, when you hit his 5th up down. I get it on that front. That guy's 2 innings are big league bullpen.
Oh my gosh, it could be high leverage. He could be one of the more exciting weapons in high leverage. They should absolutely try him as a starter still, and maybe he builds up more and more after the layoff and is more comfortable. We've seen him go deep as an amateur in a couple starts on the Cape, and he was doing it a little bit more at LSU for an abbreviated point, especially in the fall. But he hasn't done a ton of it. So now coming off of this big layoff, like you could definitely see him get tired in the third. I was surprised that they let him throw as many pitches as he did. Like once he was starting to labor physically, I thought they may pull him at that point. They didn't. Maybe there was a concerted effort to just build up the pitch count, and
he was sweating his ass off too.
He threw 57 pitches.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those came in the third inning of work there. But I think they're going to give him every shot to start, and they should. But it just seems like that delivery, it seems more like multi-inning reliever to me.
Yeah.
Regardless, this is a weapon of an arm, one way or another. I mean, he was up to 99 on multiple occasions. The characteristics on the fastball he was up to 100.
Wow.
He touched 99.7. And you know what at bat it was? It was the Luis Lara at bat, which that was just bullying. Of Luis Lara.
That's one of those where I feel like you can just let it eat because it's like, what's he going to do?
Yeah, and he could have, and instead he actually decided to, I think, have his most polished at bat, where he goes curveball for a strike, changeup, and then 100. See ya.
Yeah.
And I mean that you're just going to have a hard time being able to hit that. But you pointed something out of the ball game that I noticed, and that I didn't notice until really you said it, and I'm looking at it now, and it's very valid. Some wide ranges in the velocity, and not like it just tapered off at the end. No, it was just like in the same at bat you had a 95, and then you had a 97, and then 98, 99, and then a 94.9. I think those might have been some cutters, and that's the interesting thing. So I think he's throwing a cutter at 93, 94, 95, and then he's got a fastball in the upper 90s as well. It's something I want to dig a little bit more into. But it seems as though he's throwing that cutter in the low 90s.
So that would make me feel a lot better than his four-seamer just varying like that.
No, so I think TrackMan there was labeling some cutters as fastballs, and it makes sense because, I mean, that's some pretty big variance for a guy that on the last couple ABs, even when he looked tired, he got up to 98. Okay. So having that cutter involved there too. I mean, you got the four-seamer with elite characteristics, by the way, too. You got the cutter, the slider, a curveball, and then he even mixes in a changeup here and there. Like, it's a starter's arsenal if he can build it up. But the silver lining is this guy could be elite in the pen, too.
If any young pitchers or pitching coaches of young people are listening, Grant Taylor got to 98 when he was really tired because he's got legs, man. His lower half is impressive. That guy, he's a thick-cut guy that was so clearly still driving on the mound at the tail end. And we're talking like he's sweating his ass off.
Yeah.
The back of his jersey is a different color grade than the front of his jersey.
Well, that's Fanatic's fault.
Yeah, that is Fanatic's fault. But it's also like it's Arizona. It was 100 degrees. He was in direct sunlight. And, he's a bigger guy for his height. But at the end of the day, like, this guy was driving so hard the entirety of the time, and that's how you get to 100. That's how you stay at 98 when you're dog tired.
Absolutely.
So another White Sox here is Peyton Pallette. Pallette, again, the numbers are not great. Pitcher numbers in the Arizona Fall League might just be flat out misleading. Like, yes. It's just such a small sample. Pallette made a couple of mistakes. He got tagged for a Briseño homer. There was another guy that had some hard contact against him. I'm blanking on who it was in Scottsdale. Do you have it?
Drew Cavanaugh.
And Briseño was an absolute tank. But aside from that, like, I thought Pallette, the fastball and the changeup, the execution there was pretty fun to watch.
When he had the sequence going,
yeah.
Like when he was able to locate the fastball, the changeup off of it's just disgusting.
It's gross.
I think the problem since he's been out here has been kind of spraying it at times. Yeah. But then there are certain ABs where like he establishes it, then he locates a couple changeups, and it's just see you later.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big league reliever and a multi-inning guy too, which is fun. It gives you some options there. But, I mean, I think he looked quite good, and this is a guy that could fly pretty quickly through the minors, and I think he's going to based on the fact that he's here already and how well he performed down the stretch of the season. I don't think they really care about results here. They're just looking at the stuff, and the stuff continues to play.
Yeah, and, I mean, he threw, 82 1/3 innings this year, and he finished the year in Double-A, 15 innings, a 3-run ball. Like, why can't that guy be in the big league bullpen next year, the front half of the season?
And a guy that you can really use a ton and, could throw 80, 90 innings out of the bullpen, and you don't really care.
Across 60 outings.
You don't have to worry as much because he can handle it.
I wonder if they're going to have him go, and I have no idea how long he's going to be out here. Is he out here the entirety of the fall? No clue. I think it'd be really interesting to see if he goes like, an inning, and then day off, an inning, day off, 2 innings, that kind of thing. I'd be curious to see him on shorter rest than he was getting in the minor leagues.
Yeah, it was like 3 days rest almost every outing, or I guess 2 days rest.
2 days rest. Yeah. So, like, part of me is thinking, let's see how you do on 1 day rest.
Yeah.
Because that is, like, the test of a big league bullpen.
Of course, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that'll be really interesting. Jun-Seok Shim, the Miami Marlins. He was acquired from the Pirates in that Brian De La Cruz deal. We've talked about him being an alien life form of sorts. The thing is, he's just been pretty unavailable.
Yeah.
And by pretty, I mean he's thrown 8 innings in 2 years. But he is out here at the Fall League. We saw him throw the first game that we were at, that was in Mesa on Saturday. And the stadium gun, I'll say, a little cold.
Yes.
But it was pretty unimpressive what we saw from
sad.
Jun-Seok Shim. And I was like, okay, yeah, you clearly have some rust. And I hope he shakes the rust off, but we saw a very rusty version of Jun-Seok Shim.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know the scope of the injuries. I know there's a shoulder thing involved. And clearly, I mean, there had to be some serious stuff. The fact that he's only thrown 8 innings since, becoming a pro. And I think the fact that that the Pirates were willing to move off of him for a Brian De La Cruz.
Tigers, Pirates, and Marlins. Oh, my. Yeah.
Like, I think there probably was some concern here. Still, it's just the first outing, so we'll give some pause before we fully say, oh no, this is not good.
Right.
But I mean, he was mid to uppers, in the 90s with the fastball, and in this outing, he averaged 92. It was only 7 fastballs, but he averaged 92.
Yeah.
And I think he topped out at 94. So, I mean, that's not what we were used to. And then the breaking balls were just big, right? I mean, he's throwing 72-mile-per-hour curveballs. And, I mean, there's a ton of depth to them. And, they're definitely, it can be a nasty pitch. But, in the past, we'd seen him spinning 3,000 RPM curveballs. He wasn't doing that. It was more 2,600, 2,700. So, it just wasn't the guy that, I think we got flashes of. He did mix in a couple 3,000 RPM guys, so you saw some flashes, but I think there's a lot of rust to be shaken off. I don't want to get too down yet, but I think the highest we saw was 93.6 here, and
that's what the Fall League is for.
And no, he didn't throw one splitter, I don't think.
Really?
So I think that's interesting too, because that's something to monitor. But he clearly can spin it.
Yeah.
It's different when you're spinning it at 72 versus like 77, 78 with that kind of depth.
And he's a big guy. Like I feel confident that he can, throughout the course of the month, shake the rust off. We just got outing number 1 from Jun-Seok Shim, and I hope that that was first outing, get it out of the way, and slowly but surely build up. I'm very interested to check in on the next time he throws in a StatCast game. Like you got to pick and choose your spots with these, because like. We were in Mesa last night, but the game in Surprise was the one with StatCast.
Yeah.
So we didn't get StatCast, but the other night game got StatCast. It didn't really make too much sense. So, I mean, just kind of bizarre. But we are going to get to 2 Pirates pitching prospects in a moment, and a fun announcement at the tail end of the show. But before that, one more quick break. First to 2 Pirates is Khristian Curtis, who we saw last night, and he had some fastballs that we were like, whoa, dude. Mm-hmm. They were heavy, and it was 93 on the gun. It was 94 on the stadium gun. I have a feeling he got up to 95, 96 because it sounded different than 93, 94.
It was heavy for sure. Like it just felt like it was. And that gun, I think, in Sloan has been a little bit light.
Yeah.
Since we've been there, and sure enough, I mean, he was up to 96.
Okay.
And 96.4 was the
highest
that we saw.
Yeah.
But there was just life on it. I don't. And we both would look at each other and like that just sounds harder than mid-90s. Looks harder than mid-90s. And you can spin it, pretty well. It's one of those just might not have a ton of IVB or anything like that, but it just gets good spin. And I think you can kind of feel that in the way that it strikes the glove. But I mean, that was an arm that I thought looked pretty solid. And it was this. Had you seen him during the regular season?
I had watched a little bit of Bradenton, and I was impressed with what I saw. Now, having said that, that's a 22-year-old that, was a college guy that was bullying low-A hitters.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see him face comparable talent. And, like he struggled at the end of the outing, putting guys away. But, I mean, it was just the sporadic fastball that I was like, whoa. He totally had. And It's lazy analysis, but he had several fastballs in there.
Yeah, it's just the command of everything else is going to be what we have to monitor here, because Cutter, he only threw 5 of the 11 for a strike. Changeup, he only threw 2 of the 9 for a strike. But I'm with you, the fastball was impressive, and he got a lot of whiffs on the fastball. So see how the secondaries come along. He's 6'5", and I think you can kind of see that build on the mound. So.
Oh. How about Eddy Yean with the Pirates? Yean is a guy that was throwing in the mid to upper 90s in AA and then AAA at the very, very end of the year. But it's heavy. It's sinking. He's not a guy that's going to rack up Ks, but he's going to get a bunch of ground balls, and he's a big person on the mound as well.
Yeah, I honestly think his body's gotten to a better spot, too. There was a point where, and I think he was looking a little less athletic, and now he just looks like big and just, I think, strong and powerful on the mound. Obviously, like he's a big dude. I think he's still listed at 6'3", 260, but it's just a much more athletic look to him there, and he's filling up the zone, man. And I think there's a guy that could be in the Pirates bullpen next year. Like I don't really see much need for him to be with you guys potentially in Indy very long, but he made 2 appearances there, and he was good in both of them. And what I like is, sometimes those sinker guys don't get the Ks.
Yeah.
He gets enough Ks, and he started to get more and more as the year progressed. And out here, obviously, you can overpower some of the younger hitters and get the Ks. But the sinker-slider combination, I think, is great for him. Being able to get the ground balls when he needs it. But then he elevates a four-seamer as well. So you get the pair of fastballs and a good slider, and even mixes in a changeup that, like, usually when you see the changeup with 10% usage, it's just never a strike.
Yeah.
It's a strike pretty often. I actually don't know why he doesn't throw it more. But that's a pitch that he can mix in as well. So I think he's going to be a solid middle reliever for the Pirates as soon as next year.
And they're stockpiling guys like that, like a Yean and a Nicholas and a Majinski, like a Holderman as well. They have options in the 7th inning, 8th inning, and things like that. The question is the 2-time All-Star going to be good in the 9th again? Because it was not that great in 2024. A Yankee starting pitching prospect we caught in the nightcap on Saturday. That was Carlos Lagrange, not Lagrange. If you hear us saying Carlos Lagrange on previous episodes, we have learned. Our bad. But Carlos Lagrange, he's long, he's whippy. It feels like the ball comes out a beat later than the normal person, which can create a world of issues for hitters. Problem is...
For him, too.
Yeah, for him, too. Problem is, Carlos Lagrange did a whole lot of beating Carlos Lagrange himself in that outing.
Yeah, it was a tough watch.
Yeah, it was a very tough watch.
I'm excited to see him again, just so I can, hopefully, just have a better taste.
Palate cleanser.
Yeah, definitely palate cleanser there.
I need one from this pumpkin cold brew.
It just... he did not locate a slider, I don't think, the entire time, essentially. He was spraying the fastball. It was 97, but he was spraying the fastball. We were kind of at the point where it's like, how long is he going to be in here? Because it just was clear that he wasn't going to have it there. So I don't want to, take too much away from one outing, but 42 pitches and 19 strikes is always a bit tough. And, he did battle walks when he came back from injury in October, where it was 5 walks, 4 walks, 3 walks, and then we had the 4 walks in an inning and a third in that outing. So, it just seems like the mechanics are really hard for him to sync up at 6'7". And the Yankees have been good with pitching development, but I don't know if he's had an opportunity to develop as much because of the fact that he was hurt for most of the year. So, I want to try to be a little bit more patient. But he's 21, and he's going to probably go back to low A next year. So you got to start to see some shift in terms of throwing strikes. He had done it through stretches in rookie ball last year. So hopefully he can do that this year, because it's 97 or 98 from a 6'7" pitcher. Like, that could be quite solid.
I think same age, but this guy got up to AAA. That's Jose Acuna of the Cincinnati Reds. I'm pretty sure Jose Acuna is still 21 years old, but Acuna was a guy that...
Oh, you're so lucky. 4 more days.
4 more days, that's huge. Happy early birthday, Mr. Jose Acuna. But, same age, got to AAA. He impressed me in AAA as a guy that had better pitchability than you see from 21-year-old right-handers more often than not. He gets to the fall league. It was shaky again at the end of his start, but the beginning of the start, I was like, this guy has some stuff to him. He is somebody that, it feels like he just slots in right behind an Aguiar and Aspires in terms of a depth starter. This is going to be a good tweener between Louisville and Cincinnati to have. And, I think Reds fans should be encouraged by what they saw from an Aguilar and Aspires this year because you need those guys to survive 162. He can help you survive 162.
No doubt, and I think especially with the challenges to stay healthy in the rotation from a Lodolo. I mean, Abbott was hurt, Ashcraft was hurt, even Hunter Green missed time at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have arms that can come up there and not be Levi Stout.
Correct.
And not to disparage Levi Stout, but he did actually have some shots for the Reds when he left. So I thought it was a fair example to use.
Yeah, fair. You burned the bridge. Like,
yeah. Shit, whatever. But, like, just come up there and be able to get outs and, like, okay, he's got a shot to give us 4 or 5. Like,
right.
Levi Stout, it felt like he's not getting through 2.
Yeah.
So I think that's exactly what Acuna can do, and I'm glad you mentioned him. And he wasn't really on my radar at all. You had been the one who pointed him out before we got there. And, I mean, it's a below-average release height that he's getting run and ride from. So that fastball is going to play up, even though it's in the low 90s, which I was expecting once I saw the in-zone whiff numbers, which are comfortably above average. So you average 93 with it, but you get above average run and ride from a below average release height. Like, you're going to get whiff there, especially if you're locating it. Then he's got the slider and the changeup. It's a 3-pitch mix that are all solid. If you have 3 average pitches and you locate them well, you can be a great spot starter, or even like there's a world if he's 20, he's gonna be 22 in 4 days. Like there's a world where he can maybe see an uptick and grab onto a 5th spot in a rotation. Like I don't think that's totally crazy with what we saw. Yeah. So I mean, and the fact that he has a pretty even distribution of the fastball, slider, and changeup. So I think he's most likely that like 6 starter. Mm-hmm. Or that 6 or 7 starter, which is again, like you said, you got to have in your stable, especially if you're a rotation that tends to get banged up.
For sure. A reliever for the Cincinnati Reds, Luis May. May was incredibly impressive in that game. May, you mentioned, got up to what, 102? 102. And it was like, I'm better than you, try and touch this. Yeah. And nobody did.
No one did. And, I mean, he was bullying some of the younger hitters. Hey, with May, it's all about the strikes, right? Opponents hit 191 against him this year, but they also got on base at a 350 clip.
Yeah.
So it's just all about, Luis May not beating Luis May.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he didn't locate his – he threw 5 sliders, and 2 were strikes. Didn't matter because – he threw a lot of fastballs for strikes and just overpowered guys with that. And that's how he's going to be able to succeed, I think, even at the big league level. You're going to need to have that slider going a little bit more. But, like, just an example to Ethan Salas, it's 98 fastball, 99 fastball, 100, 100, 100, see you.
Yeah.
And then, Andrew Pintar just destroys his bat with 102 on the hands.
Did you see Josh Norris's tweet, by the way, yesterday?
No.
Is like, now that they're both out here, we are just, like, a situation away from getting Andrew Painter versus Andrew Pintar, which is awesome.
That would be really fun.
It's great.
Yeah, we're braced for that. But, I mean, yeah, it just the fact that he's up to 102, this guy could be high leverage if he can just throw some more strikes, and he's showing flashes of it.
Throw strikes, baby. Last but not least of our pitchers out here in Arizona, Skylar Hales of the Texas Rangers, and this was a guy that we expressed excitement about seeing out here. He was 4th-round pick out of Santa Clara, can run it up to 99, 100 miles an hour, and he was at one of the games that we were at, or he was pitching in one of the games that we were at that had StatCast involved, and I could pull up, the release side. I could pull up the induced, and I could pull up the velo in real time. We were getting it pitch by pitch, and I mean, he was putting up some crazy numbers there. The problem is,
you got shelled.
It was the lowercase x. Yeah, like the lowercase x was like, whoa, this guy's got some stuff there. Unfortunately, the performance was not great. There was a lot of hard contact against him, and it felt like he was leaving things middle. The pitch data is very encouraging.
And visually, I mean, you could see the stuff. Like,
yeah.
He's got stuff.
He's got stuff. It's a matter of execution.
Yeah. But yeah, the pitch by pitch data was pretty wild to watch. Like, he's getting a 5'1", 5'2" release height.
5'1", and he was getting 17 inches.
Yeah,
or something?
that's absurd. And he was up to 99 in that outing as well. Again, like you said, he was just leaving middle, and that. Guys are going to hit 99 middle. They will.
Doesn't matter the release height.
No,
it doesn't matter the vert when it's middle.
Generally, no. And but I mean, average at 97 with it. It also was tough because it was either a ball and like a very obvious ball or middle. Yeah. And that becomes difficult. I think some of these guys are also just struggling. Like, I don't think they've ever sweat this much on the mound.
Yeah.
And like it sounds goofy, but like it's true. Like, getting that grip and just like it's a totally different beast. It's 95, probably 100 plus on the field.
It's a real thing, man. And like I'm sure there are a lot of guys out here that weren't wearing sunscreen, and like I would recommend the sunscreen thing. And I'm not saying that from a sticky substance enhancer thing. I'm saying that because these are all legal things that you can do.
Yes.
Hey, sweat, sunscreen, rosin can in turn give you grip when it's 100 degrees and your hand is essentially covered in a film of your own sweat.
Yes.
Like, that helps you. That helps the hitter because they're not going to get plunked with 98, 99. So
a lot of hit batters already. We've seen that, too.
I feel like there's going to be some guys here that figure out how to mitigate some of the Vaseline feeling that you get from 100 degrees and you're sweating.
Well, I thought Vaseline was an advantage. If you ask Buck Showalter,
it was in the
advantage.
60s, right?
Yeah.
Vaseline was the advantage in the 60s, and now it's like the anti-Vaseline. So we got to get back to Vaseline being the advantage.
I'm with you. But no, Hales, I still think has the opportunity to be in the Rangers bullpen stuff-wise. It's just let's see if he can hone back in and throw some strikes.
Yeah, real quick, and we can do the drum roll if you want. This should come without any surprise, but we are doing Just Baseball's hitter and pitcher of the year. Surely a foregone conclusion. If you listen to the all MILB teams, we've talked about these guys, it seems like ad nauseum, but our hitter and pitcher of the year in minor league baseball, of course, presented by our friends at Chinook Seedery. There you go for the YouTube crowd. Sick hats, by the way.
Awesome hats.
Do they have merch on the website?
I think they have to.
Yeah, you have to have merch on the website. I would recommend the hat, but also get your seeds using promo code JustBaseball for 10% off. Real quick, who are Just Baseball's hitter and pitcher of the year?
The same ones as everybody else's. I wish it could be a little different here, but how could we? It's Khristian Campbell.
Yep.
Of the Boston Red Sox. That's the hitter of the year. I mean, let's think of a different way to describe what he did. We said that last time.
We did that on the
Yeah,
all
we already
MILB.
did that. But I do want to just point out that his ex-WOBA
there we go.
was also above 400.
That's different. Yeah.
Ex-WOBA also north of 400. That is pretty damn impressive. I got one more fun stat for you because we have told you everything that you need to know about this guy. He had 44 batted balls north of 105 miles per hour, and 10 of those were home runs. When he hits a home run, he freaking gets it.
He gets it.
So I mean, that's a guy that's going to get his best swing off pretty often. But the official slash line on the year: 330, 439, 558 between three levels, and 997 OPS. And he is I think another example of the Red Sox bat speed program. And something that they really were focusing on and their hitting development that they've overhauled. And I think you're seeing in real time an athlete that unlocked something that he probably didn't even know he had. And I think in his own words, he said, I look at my swing from Georgia Tech and I don't even recognize that guy. I almost get upset. It's still a very unorthodox swing.
Yeah.
But clearly this one works a lot better because his numbers across three levels this year dwarfed anything he did as an amateur. Really.
Yeah. Here's my unique angle on Khristian Campbell. The top 15 in minor league baseball in WRC Plus were all in the Dominican Summer League except for Khristian Campbell, and he was third. It's not like he was 15th. He was third. Emil Morales of the Dodgers had a 194. Raynel Rodriguez, the Cardinals, had a 186. Then Khristian Campbell had a 180. So the three guys with a 180 WRC Plus or better, 201 plate appearances, 184 plate appearances, 517 plate appearances. That's the difference. That's why this was a slam dunk.
One more fun stat for you.
There
against lefties, 992 OPS. Against righties, 998 OPS.
Oh, great. Yeah, no. So there's no splits to worry about. That's awesome. So, easy slam dunk. Who is Just Baseball's minor league pitcher of the year?
Take a guess.
Is it Jacob Mizorowski?
He almost got there.
Yeah, got it.
It's Skylar Hales.
Oh, nice.
Quinn Mathews gets it. Opponents at $179 against him, and the numbers on the year. I keep saying him pitching so well actually made the numbers slightly worse. As weird as that sounds, because he got to AAA so quickly, and then he was also kind of feeling it at the end of the year. No one thought he was going to AAA this year. So then he gets to AAA for the final four starts, and that kind of bumped the numbers up a little bit from an ERA perspective. Oh no, of 2.76 ERA in 143 and a third inning. That's a full workload in the minor leagues. That's wild. 202 strikeouts. He only allowed 8 homers. But the fact that in the 143 and a third innings, opponents only hit 179, only 91 hits against him there. He doesn't give out free passes. He struck out 35% of batters. And if you take out the late, AAA starts, a 2.27 ERA. I mean, just crazy stuff. The other thing I really like about him is the combination of being able to get the Ks and the ground balls.
Yeah.
There's a very short list of players, a very, very short list of players in the minor leagues this year who had a strikeout rate north of 35% and a ground ball rate north of 47% or 45%, if you want to think I'm just kind of, picking
arbitrary.
my spots.
Yeah,
a little arbitrary there. It's I think Harleen Susana, and then I don't know who the hell else it would be. So
yeah.
Just a special year from Quinn Mathews, and I just want to use this opportunity to highlight the changeup, which I think is arguably the most underrated changeup in minor league baseball.
Wow.
Opponents hit 148 against it. They slugged 296 against it, and they had an in-zone contact rate of 48%. In-zone contact rate of 48%. That is outrageous. Overall contact rate was not that much better. Actually, it was worse. Overall contact rate against his changeup was 41%.
Nice.
That's you have no chance.
No, you have no chance.
Fastball, changeup, slider, curveball. I mean, it's just a great arsenal.
I'm trying to think about my unique angle here. Quinn Mathews, his senior year at Stanford, 124 and 2/3 innings. He allowed 12 home runs. This year, 143 and a third innings in professional baseball. He allowed 8 home runs.
How about his sophomore year or sophomore year? 9 homers and 66 and 2/3 innings.
And now 8 and 143 this year. So this guy has somehow managed to drastically improve his overall persona on the mound.
2 players that are better as pros by a mile. Than they were as amateurs.
And I think the surprise element leans into, why they are the hitter and pitcher of the year. It's we did not see this coming. You could have seen it coming from a Walker Jenkins. Okay, you get it, right? But with a Khristian Campbell, it's I got to find out who Khristian Campbell is.
Yep.
And at the end of April, it's who are you, man? But these guys are 2 top 40 prospects in the game.
That's why I love this sport, man.
Yep.
You never know what it's going to give you next and what it's going to bring to the table. So thank you for Chinook for giving us these awards, sending us out to the Arizona Fall League and sponsoring these awards here. But very fun. We're going to be doing more AFL episodes. Unfortunately, they will be, probably fortunately for the viewers, on regular Zoom. So you're not going to see me and Jack just sitting here.
I'm going to miss the dudes on a couch.
I know you will, even though this is your bed as well. Pull-out couch that you just refuse to pull out.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We have, and I'm not going to pull up the laptop and show you what's going on. I've got my carry-on here that the laptop is sitting on right now on the coffee table, and it's shooting at us right now on the couch. My thing is do I want to create this setup, which we optimized?
Yeah.
Every single time we sit down to record something, or do I want to have just a little bit more comfort while I sit?
And it might not even be more comfort. They're very springy, the pull-out.
Very springy. Yeah, you feel it in your back sometimes. It's oh God, I'm hurting here. So it's
thanks for taking one for the team here on the couch.
I tossed and turned a little bit, but it's okay. Anything for you.
You had to just slide and make me feel a little bit worse after I already acknowledged.
Yeah, no, but how's that king in there? Is that awesome? Is that great?
I invited you in.
All right, do the what? Do you have to do the merch?
Do the merch. That's your way of cutting the episode off every time. No, but actually, I never plug the merch on here. Link is in the episode description if you want to support the JB show or the call up or just baseball in general. We have some call up merch too, and I actually really like it. Obviously, but I'm unbiased. I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Check it out there. Link in the episode description for our newsletter, which will give you AFL updates, and that's free written now, which is really cool. Instead of the just auto serving you articles, our newsletter is handwritten. I guess the new version of handwritten, hand typed every single time. Then with a reference to our social media posts, articles, everything that you need to know from the week in baseball. We know you guys got busy lives, so we want to make it as easy for you as possible to keep up with everything going on. So this isn't your standard just annoying newsletter. I think you guys will really enjoy it. The link to subscribe to that is in the episode description. And 10% off Chinook Seeds. Let me know what your favorite flavor is. That's also in the episode description. Busy description. Look forward to talking more AFL with you this next week or so. And we have some fun interviews on the way as well. Talk to you soon.